Hi guys, this is Freddy. I'm here to read you a story about Donald Duck and his three nephews, Huey, Dewey, and Louie. This story is called More Good Deeds. Here we go. Donald Duck is in his yard. It looks like he's shoveling all his trash over the fence to the neighbor. Huey, Dewey, and Louie are saying, "Why are you throwing those old cans into Mr. Jones's yard, Uncle Donald?" Uncle Donald says, "Because I love to hear him rave and rant when he throws them back at me. That's not very nice." Huey, Dewey, and Louie say, Why would you try to make Mr. Jones mad all the time? Why not do him favors instead of hurting him? It will make him like you." Donald says, "Why don't you ask me to grow wings? Listen, here he comes now. Let's see what he says this time." Mr. Jones, he doesn't like all that garbage over in his yard, so he says, "You miserable mallard, you web-footed, shovel-nosed, poisonous reptile, you pest, you snake, you scorpion, why don't you fade away?" Donald thinks it's funny. He says, "Beautiful, isn't it?" But now Mr. Jones is throwing all the trash back at Uncle Donald, and with a big clank, he gets that looks like a can of soup. He gets right back in his head, and it hits him so hard that his tongue is sticking out his mouth. Uncle Donald says, "Maybe you kids are right. I ought to change my ways. Maybe I should do some good deeds." And Huey, Dewey, and Louie say, "Yes, let's make this a day of good deeds." Huey says, "Are you really willing to do good deeds for Mr. Jones, Uncle Donald? I don't think they really believe it. Let's see." Donald says, "For Mr. Jones and for anybody in all the world, I'll miss no chance to do anyone a favor, so help me cross my heart and hope to die." Now Uncle Donald, he is really going to do some good deeds. I wonder if he's going to stick to that. Let's see. Huey, Dewey, and Louie say, "Look, there's Mr. Jones' newspaper." Donald says, "I'll toss it into his doorstep for him. That should be a good deed. That should make him happy." Let's see. And Donald throws the newspaper. Zip! It looks like it's going to hit the door, actually. Let's see what happens. Oh no! Mr. Jones opens the door right as the newspaper comes, and it hits him in the head with a big smack. I don't think Mr. Jones is going to be too happy about that. And Mr. Jones, he throws a vase in the neck of Uncle Donald with a big crash. And he says, "You pest, why don't you fade?" So that was not a good deed, I guess. Donald says, "I won't let a little thing like this stop me. Come on, let's go look for good deeds that need doing." So Donald is not going to give up. He'll try to do good deeds now. Donald says, "Look, that poor bakery delivery man is so tired. He can only lift one pie box at a time. His truck says, 'Baking pies and cakes.'" Yeah, that truck driver, he sure looks tired. Let's see what Donald can figure out. Donald, he tries to take all the pies and stack them up in one big stack and says, "I'll help you, mister." But the pie guy, he says, No, please don't, please. I guess you shouldn't stack up all the pies like that." Let's see what happens. Sure enough, Donald tries to lift all the pies, and the bottom two pies, they squirt out of the box and right into the pie man's face. Donald had not expected that, I don't think. I don't think this is going to be a good deed either. Donald says, I was just trying to do you a favor, mister. I am so sorry. The pie man says, well, how nice. You must let me return the favor. So let's see what the pie man is going to do. And with a big squish, he stomps on all the pies. And all the pies, they squirt right onto Uncle Donald. So he got his good deed right back in his face. Well, let's see if Donald is more lucky now. Donald goes home and takes a bath, so he can wash all the pie off his clothes and himself. Uncle Donald says, I have a hunch I'm in for a really bad day. But Huey, Dewey, and Louie say, don't give up, Uncle Donald. I think there's still more good deeds you can do. Donald says, let's go out into the country where chances to do good deeds won't come so close together. Maybe I'll have more luck out here. Let's see. Oh, there's an airplane flying around up there. Look at that airplane. It is acting very strange. I wonder what's wrong with that. Let's see what happens. Donald says, look out, it's making an emergency landing. I don't think that the pilot is doing too good. Let's see if he can land the plane okay. I hope the boys and Uncle Donald get out of the way of the airplane. Let's see. And there is the pilot. He says, I haven't slept for 60 hours. Do you mind if I take a nap here on your green lawn? And Uncle Donald and the boys says, okay. Let's see. And the pilot laid down on grass and he fell right asleep. He sure was tired. Donald says, I'll be doggone. He is gone, sound asleep. Huey, Dewey, and Louie say, he left his motor running. You better turn it off, Uncle Donald. That's not good. We can't have the airplane taking off by itself. Let's see if Donald can turn off the motor. They walk up to the airplane, and sure enough, the engine is running. Donald says, I don't know how to turn off these big motors, but as a favor to the pilot, I'll give it a try. Let's see what happens now. Donald and the three nephews, they crawl up on top of the airplane to look into the cockpit. And the boys say, maybe if you pull that stick down there, maybe the engine will stop, Uncle Donald. Go ahead and try. I don't think that'll stop the engine. Let's see what happens. Donald pulls the stick, but he pulls it the wrong way. So now the engine really takes off with a big roar. And Donald falls headfirst into the cockpit, and the boys say, oh no, it was the wrong stick, and they fall into the back end of the cockpit. I think the airplane is going to take off now. That's what it looks like. Uncle Donald says, help, help, I'm stuck in here. I think he's stuck down at the bottom of the cockpit. See, his feet are sticking up, and the boys are in the back end of the cockpit. And it looks like the airplane is taking off now. This is not going to be good. Let's see what happens. The boys are pulling the legs of Uncle Donald to get him out of the cockpit, but I think his head is stuck down there. The boys say, pull the stick back, Uncle Donald, quick. And let's see what happens. The boys say, pull the stick further, Uncle Donald, further. I can see the airplane is taking off now. but there's a bunch of big trees right in front of it. I wonder if they're going to hit the trees. Or do you think he can pull the stick enough to get the airplane to take off? Let's see. And sure enough, with a big zoom, the airplane just took off and just touched the trees. Now the boys are saying, "Let go of the stick now, Uncle Donald." Uncle Donald says, "I can't let go. This stick is all that is holding me in. I have to hold on to the stick. Otherwise, I'm going to fall out of the airplane." Okay, now it looks like they're flying upside down. Let's see what happens. Oh, they made a big circle. Now they come down. Zoom. They almost hit the ground. And they got so close to that little chicken that all the feathers fell off him. He must be freezing now. Uncle Doc says, "I am okay now. I can hold the airplane steady now." So now Donald thinks he's a pilot. Let's see how that goes. Uncle Donald says, "I will steer north. Let's look for a clear place where we can land." But it looks like there's a lot of clouds everywhere, so I don't know how that's going to go. The boys say, "Gee, the fog has come in. We can't see any landmarks, Uncle Donald. We have no idea where we're going." Well, let's see where they're going. And they keep flying and flying, and it looks like the moon is up now, so it's getting dark. Donald says, "All this trouble just because I tried to do a good deed. That's not worth it." Let's see what happens now. Uncle Donald says, "We must be over the North Pole by now. We have been flying for so long." But I don't think it looks like the North Pole. There's palm trees and bananas and stuff at the bottom there. The boys say, "If we are over the North Pole, then the North Pole has bananas on it." That doesn't seem right. "There is a clearing," the boy says. "Why not land and ask where we are?" Donald says, "Well, I don't know if I can land the airplane, but I'll try. I think I can set her down." Let's see if he can land the airplane. Sure enough, it looks like they're landing in a jungle. And there's some native ducks there. Those ducks look a little different than Uncle Duck and his nephews. They're looking at that airplane, wondering what it is. I hope they're friendly. And the native duck says, "Yee, yee, yow, wow, yippee, yee." So I guess they're talking a language that Uncle Donald and the boys don't understand. Let's see what happens. Well, I guess they're prisoners now. The native ducks took them prisoners. Now they are bringing Uncle Donald and the three boys to the king, to the Duck King. "Good morning, Your Majesty," Uncle Donald says. The Duck King says, "Grunt." He has a chicken with him and 2 pigs and a little tiny pig running. So he's rich. And their houses are in the background. They look like huts. Let's see what happens next. Huey, Dewey, and Louie say, "Uncle Donald, watch for a chance to do the king a good deed. It will make him like us." Donald says, "If I hadn't done so many good deeds, we wouldn't be here. So I don't know if that's such a good idea." Donald is thinking to himself, "The kids are right. I will watch for a chance to do a really good deed." Then he looks up and sees the monkey up at the top of the tree and thinks, "That monkey is about to drop a coconut on the king's head. I wonder if I can save the king. That would be a good deed." See, the monkey is closing his one eye. He's trying to aim for the king, I think. Let's see what happens. Donald runs up and pushes the king's chair back. "I will save you, Your Majesty," he says. Well, he does save the king, but he gets the coconut in his own head with a big ouch. That's not good. Let's see what the king thinks. Oh, Donald says, another good deed gone wrong. I don't think the king is too happy. He's sitting down in all the mud with his chair, and the two pigs are looking at the king. I wonder if they think that he's a pig. I don't know. Let's see what happens next. Catch those white-faced boneheads and burn them at the stake. That's what the king says. He looks pretty mad. The one pig is looking at him. He's also a little worried, I think. Let's see. Oh, the king says, well, just tie him up to the pole, but let his arms and legs loose. I want to watch him kick and fan. So, Donald, he's in trouble now, I think. Donald says to the boys, what do I do now? I can't do any more good deeds. I'm in real trouble. The boys said, you gotta keep doing good deeds. It's your only hope. Why not give that poor savage duck a match? And the duck is rubbing two rocks together, trying to light the fire there. But he says, the flint, the rocks, that's no good. So let's see. Let's see what happens. Donald says, well, in my opinion, this is carrying a good deed too far. I shouldn't really help him burn me at the stake. But he says, here, Jasbo, have a couple of matches. The native duck, he doesn't really know what those matches are. See, there's a question mark above his head. He's all mystified. Let's see what he does with them. He tries to rub the two matches together, and obviously that doesn't do anything. Donald says, that dumb duck is rubbing the matchsticks together. I'll have to strike one for him. He's going to still try to do a good deed and help the duck. And he does. He strikes the match and it turns on. Let's see what the duck does with that. The king is so surprised. He says, oh, those are magic fire sticks. Wow, I think he wants one of those. He has never seen matches before. See how surprised he is? Well, I guess all the other native ducks, they want the matchsticks too. They say, I want a fire stick. Give me. I want a fire stick. I want a fire stick. Me too. They all say, I want a fire stick. I don't know if Uncle Donald has enough fire sticks for all of them. Donald says, oh, lucky me. I had a whole pocketful with me. So he gives all the fire sticks to the native ducks. Let's see what they're going to do with them. And, of course, they don't know how to use fire sticks. They all end up setting fire to themselves and their skirts. And they say, ouch, 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 and they're running around. Even the little pig down in the bottom is running away. So that was not a good deed. But fortunately, the boys got a chance to free Uncle Donald. So they say, they're sitting there in their grass skirts, trying to put out the fires. What a lucky break for us. Let's run while they're busy with the fires. And sure enough, they get away from the native ducks. Huey, Dewey, and Louie say they're all running to the river. We can go back to the airplane and take off if we hurry up. So they run back to the airplane. And they got in and they could take off. See, you see, Uncle Donald? It was doing good deeds that got you out of that trouble. Uncle Donald is not so sure about that. He says, yeah, well, we're not out of trouble yet. I don't think so. Let's get back to where we came from. Home again, Donald faces the really mad owner of the airplane, he just woke up and he saw that Donald had taken the airplane and flew it away. So he says, "So you went joyriding in my plane while I was asleep, huh?" Donald says, "No, no, no, I only tried to turn off the motor, and then the plane took off, so it's not really my fault." The owner looks kind of mad, I think. Let's see. So the owner says, "And you have been flying all night, perhaps? What day is this anyway?" Huey says, "Oh, it's Tuesday today." Donald, he looks like he's choking right there. Let's see what's happening. The owner says, "Oh, is it Tuesday today? It looks like he just thought of something. Why, that's the day I resolved to spend doing good deeds." Ah, so the owner of the airplane also wanted to do good deeds on a Tuesday. Well, it's a good thing it is Tuesday, huh? Let's see. Now the owner, he's so glad. He says, "It's a good idea to start right now by giving you $5 for taking care of my airplane. That's my good deed for today." The boy said, "You better mail it to him, Mr. Uncle Donald has fainted. He's totally out." But I guess Uncle Donald was so surprised that the owner would pay him money and not beat him up. So that was a good story. And that's the end of the story. I hope you had fun listening. Bye-bye.